Oops.
Hi, I'm Danny Knightmare.
I'm Gory Movie.
And you've been cursed, apparently.
You have been cursed. But that's later.
Yeah.
That's a whole other thing that we're going to talk about later.
Yeah. We just saw Sick. Directed by John Hyams, who did Alone, and apparently directed one of the Chucky episodes, Going to the Chapel.
Going to the Chapel.
Yeah.
Season 2.
There you go. And more importantly, the main reason why we were really excited to watch this movie was that it was written by Kevin Williamson.
And obviously Kevin Williamson was the star of the 90s. He did a lot of favorites, like obviously Scream. Before that, he'd worked on Dawson's Creek, which was a big 90s thing. He wrote I Know What You Did Last Summer. And then he kind of caused this whole like meta trend with horror slashers. So there's also a lot of emulators like, Urban Legend and stuff as well.
Oh, yeah. I Know What You Did Last Summer. The fact they all kind of had that feel after Scream.
Oh, look who it is!
Christian Orr, what's up?
What's up? I love it when he shows up.
And hi, Brandon. How you doing?
Hey. Hey, Brandon.
How you two guys doing today?
Brandon's awesome. Brandon hung out with me and watched Terror Vision with me yesterday, so that was cool.
Yeah, I watched that. It's always a good movie to watch.
It's a good movie.
If you like a good cheesy sci-fi horror movie that has cool but funny effects, like a creature and a spaceman and all that stuff, that's definitely a good movie to check out. And I like that Medusa chick, even though you're not supposed to, I don't think. She is a host, a horror host. About to buy Doom on my new N64. Horror games are fun. Christian Orr. Well, that's awesome. I sell N64 games.
Also, Ginger has kidney stones.
Oh, let's do a Care Bear stare for Ginger.
Oh, okay. We gotta do one for Brewster too, because Brewster had a infection.
All right, first one for Brewster.
Yeah.
Second one for Ginger. You're wearing your Dream Girl shirt, apparently, right?
Yeah, I had a dream about Darcy last night. Guys, kick ass. I don't normally bother people with my dreams. This was the coolest freaking dream. So we were all down at this camp kind of thing with Joe Bob and a whole bunch of other like friends and stuff from the internet. And then there was a monster, and it kind of looked like a creature of the Black Lagoon, but it was hurting people. So I decided I was going to kill it, and I had a really sharp knife, and I dug out one eyeball, cut off an arm, cut off a leg, and we thought it was safe. But then Darcy's like, if it gets to water, it can regenerate or something. We saw that it was missing, and then everyone went to the pool, but I remember there was like a tiny little canal area, and that's where I found it. So I dug out the other eyeball, stabbed it until it was paste, and I'm like, hell yeah, I saved the day, right? No! It cracks. Okay, first I got its head off too, by the way. It cracks open like an egg, and out of it, growing like a damn tree, is now a monster that's like 20 feet tall, and even scarier, and then the head cracks open and a blob creature comes out. Holy balls! It was a crazy dream.
You need to stop falling asleep watching weird movies.
No, I don't. That was awesome.
Nah, it does actually sound like a cool movie. Sounds like that what is that, Afterbirth movie with a...
No, dude, that movie wasn't that good. My dream was awesome.
Yeah, but it had what's her name from American Pie, and she gave birth to the head of the creature from the Black Lagoon.
But the cool part was we knew that we weren't sure if we could kill it because it might create an even bigger monster.
Well, that's the thing, as the creature of the Black Lagoon was too big to be in her body, but somehow she gave birth to it.
Oh, Christian noticed that he's a regular. Yeah, we do. You always say, "What's up?"
Yeah, what's up?
What's up?
We appreciate you coming back every time, Christian.
Yeah.
You're good people. Anyways, and then my shirt here, if you want to get, it's called Murder Baby. I don't know if anybody knows about this movie. It's a 1982 adult, noir detective movie. Adult,
Oh, you can get taller too if you
want. But if you'd like this shirt or anything that's kind of cool to this, there is a link below. And if you use the horror code HORROR13, you'll save 13% off. So, it's that teas and stuff. All right, now let's get on down with this sickness.
Oh, waka waka!
I liked it when you used to sing that karaoke.
Like Fozzie the Bear?
You do the Fozzie Bear version.
Waka waka!
And then sing it like him, too. It would sometimes annoy some metalheads, though. They'd be like, no, you're supposed to, No, well. Anyway, so we watched Sick, and my quick review of this on Letterboxd is it's basically ordering Scream on Wish, but during the pandemic.
Okay, guys, unpopular opinion here. I really didn't like this at all. And you guys, if you know me, you watch my channel, you've watched me on Horror Addicts, I like most things. I try to see the good in things. This was painful to get to. It is horribly derivative, mediocre, and surprisingly, the writing is awful. I go onto Letterboxd just to go commiserate with my fellow horror fans because usually we kind of agree, and
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
that's pretty much how I felt when I saw that everybody loves it except for us.
Where's your little guy over there?
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Love
Yeah.
Zoolander.
I hate to say it because Kevin Williamson, that was the main reason I was looking forward to it, but the writing was the worst part.
It is terrible, and it also it's just like it's so derivative, mostly of Scream. So it starts off, you get your opening kill, and I will say the kills are pretty decent. Though I need a good story, kills aren't going to be enough for me.
Hello, Kevin. Haunted by Horror.
But then you get all of these horribly unlikable characters, which I said before. I don't care if they're unlikable. They need to be interesting. I don't like Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer, but I do find him interesting. I don't like Hannibal, but I find him interesting. These characters are completely unlikable. One of them clearly doesn't care about the pandemic. Oh, by the way, it's set in 2020 because we all want to relive that year. So they're going to go to their uber rich person cabin that they only go to once a year, which already I'm hating these people, to sit out the quarantine. And you can tell that they're uber entitled people. There's some story with some guy that she's been kind of, stringing along. And she tells him at one point that she's just not interested, but he's gonna nice guy it out. Yeah, these are awesome characters. Awesome. They're about as deep as a fucking shallow puddle, and they're horrible to watch. It's horrible to spend time with these people. And I'm forced into a tiny room with them for this whole movie. Oh, let's get to the horror. So then you get to the horror. Oh, I'm sorry.
Anyways, first of all, I want to say hi to the Movie Massacre, Rich, and Ariel, and the Late Late Horror Show. Dino, what's up, guys?
What's up, Dino? Dino's on my
You're all
channel.
great. Thank
on
you
Sunday.
for checking out. Yeah, Dino was on your channel. You did a great job. You forgot to grab your cool little Funkos of all the Universal monsters.
Oh, well.
Oh, well.
Anyway, can I continue my rant for just a
Hold
second?
on. I want to point out one thing, though. You said, the way that she tells him. The way she tells him is that she posts an Instagram video of her hooking up with another guy at a party. That's her way of letting her know that they're not exclusive.
Him no.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's talk about the damn killer, right? At least, if you're going to just kind of pull off a generic slasher, at least have a cool mask or something, right? I mean, it wouldn't save the movie. You still need a good story. But no, it's a fucking guy in a hoodie wearing a mask, like a COVID mask, not like a cool mask. It's as forgettable as anything. I've seen the hoodie thing in a ton of generic slashers. Completely forgettable. Not at all creepy when you see the guy walking on the background. This ain't The Strangers. Total miss.
Yeah, I mean, if he had fur around his hoodie, it would be ATM with the parka, because that's about the same as I feel about this movie as I felt about that movie. Way too derivative on the plot.
Huggy Bear from Starsky and Hutch.
Hey, Huggy Bear, how you doing? Seriously? Yeah, Huggy Bear posted some cool videos. I appreciate that. Yeah, Sick Boy was awesome in WCW. I agree. He had a really underrated pedigree. But
Ooh, what's up? It's becoming a
Low
thing.
Car Monster. There we go. I would have rathered the killer from fucking Scary Movie than this boring ass hoodie character. It wasn't great. Later, I'm not going to talk about his motive right now, but it wasn't good. I'll tell you that much. Uninteresting victims, uninteresting killer.
Goes on way too long.
There are some good things. I feel like the big summer home cabin is a cool place. They don't always utilize it well. But they do have some great shots that are long, especially during the action and the violence. You like seeing Ghostface get knocked around a bit. This killer is the same way. But they back and forth with long cuts. They don't chop it to shit, and I appreciate that. These are some things that are cool. There's some good stunts in there. There's some fire stunts. Good kills with some stabs. I just wish I gave a shit about any of the characters. Because that's the thing. I actually cared about people in Scream. There was a good build-up. There was even a good, suspect list. Who could possibly be the killer in Scream? There's no suspect list in
No.
this.
And I'll say it looks pretty, but it looks like commercial pretty. It's filmed well and well lit. But is that good for a horror movie? Not necessarily. The cinematography does nothing to enhance any of the fear. There's nothing scary about the way it's filmed. There's nothing creative about the way it's filmed. There's a couple one-ers, which, impressive that you did that all in one take. But there's nothing in here to enhance the fear or the terror of what's happening on screen. There's nothing here to make any of it more interesting. It's very like they hired somebody who does local commercials to do this and happen to have a really nice camera. So pretty, but not terribly interesting. That's kind of the whole thing with this movie. The character's pretty, not interesting. The gore is pretty, but also, you know what? Not interesting.
Apparently a super chat was sent, but it did not show.
Oh no, I didn't see it either.
Yeah, I didn't see it. Huh.
Well, thank you for the super chat.
I appreciate it, Rich. You don't have to do that, buddy.
Here, I'll play this for you.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
In case they didn't see it earlier.
Mugatu thanks you, and I thank you too.
But
Obey my dog!
And Dino points out that it's Horror Addicts' birthday. Well, it was technically yesterday, but this is our first video.
Yeah, it was the
celebrating.
19th, I thought.
It was yesterday.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
kiss my poodles and call me Charlie.
Yeah, I don't know. It told me, YouTube told me.
How old is Horror Addicts now?
8 years old.
Holy shit, that's geriatric.
2015 is when we started. January
Ugh.
2015.
Not like my channel, a little young spring chicken.
Right?
If you want to check out younger stuff, not this geriatric bullshit, you can always check out my channel. No, this channel's great. It's actually better than my channel. So
Not in all ways. It's also had a huge head start, so.
it's just as good when you're on it, though.
I do have a monster face. You need to get a little companion. I think
I have companions. I haven't decided on one yet.
I
I
know,
got a
you need to, like-
boglet. I got a raven.
you need to show them.
I have other gories. I have tons of ideas. And honestly, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I get a lot of anxiety and then sometimes I freeze up and I don't do any of the ideas. So I need to work on that more.
I want Monster Face, and if Dino's still watching, I want Danny Devil to team up to do a video.
I love that.
So, anyways, yeah, so there's some nice things about this movie, but overall, the main reason I really wanted to watch it failed me horribly. It was very generic,
And what we love about Scream and other Kevin Williamson things is the dialogue is so witty. Like, you love it because finally you have, it's the first time when he made Scream that characters were really smart. They knew about horror movies, they knew about the situation, and they had really funny dialogue to kind of, give you this information. This movie, the dialogue is cringe as all hell, and it gets just worse and worse and worse. We'll not spoil anything about who the killer is, but I think the killer's monologue is the part where I was literally holding a bucket, oh God.
Yeah, you get your classic monologue like you would in Scream from the killer, and that's, let's say the killer, that's where it gets cheesy and kind of
No
corny.
spoilers, though. We're not going to give you spoilers.
Exactly, but that stuff's where the acting's not great. I would say the main characters, as much as they're not very interesting, they're fine. They act well. Mary's actually pretty good, but the main Parker and DJ, I don't give a shit about their love. Supposedly.
Oh, whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
It does have Gideon Adlon, which, I guess I can't really say too much about it because most people like this movie. But I feel like between this, Witch Hunt, which I hated, and The Craft Legacy, which I like I don't know why. I like it even though I recognize it's really terrible and I own it. But yeah, to me, I'm kind of next time she's in a movie, I'm going to be beware, beware.
Yeah, and then she played Parker, and then you got
Bethlehem Million. Oh, honey, your
That is
parents did not like you.
that is a weird name, but
She was in a movie called Piss Party. I haven't seen it.
it's called Piss Party 2.
Holy balls. Bethlehem? Who names their kid Bethlehem?
Religious people? I don't know.
Why? You know what, girl, Bethlehem, you're not watching this channel because you're obviously a big deal. But I feel you, girl. My parents almost named me Pollyanna. I could have been saddled with a horrible name, too.
They also almost named you Danny.
They did almost. My mom wanted to name me Danny,
That would
but
have been interesting.
they ended up, instead of naming me Pollyanna, I got named after the actress who played her. So
Haley Mills.
you can do the math.
Anyways, yeah, Bethlehem plays Marion. She's the most likable and sensible character in there. Not super interesting, but she's, intelligent and not a douchebag like everybody else. So, yay.
I will say the girls are badass. They do fight back a lot. So if movies like The Strangers where it's just a squash match frustrate you, you're not going to be frustrated for that reason. You might be frustrated for other reasons. But the girls fight back a lot. They are really tough. And for the most part, they are able to come up with good ways to get away from the killer.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah. It's a good back and forth, and that's where I like. The strongest part of this movie is the action. The action and the violence is actually really good. But like I said, I wish I cared about the characters more.
There's also so much in this movie that doesn't make any damn sense. Not spoiling anything huge for you, but at one point there's a raft. This person is paddling on a raft. That should get them they get out pretty far. They should be able to get away from the killer. But apparently the killer's an Olympic fucking swimmer.
Yeah, can just dive right in.
Just dive right in and catch up. Things like that, like, I just find really frustrating. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. When they give me the killer reveal, is there some reason why the killer is a fucking Chris Hemsworth level athlete? I'm going to tell you right now, no, there's not. There's not a reason at all. In fact, it's really unbelievable that they're that athletic.
And I won't tell you the motive, and I won't even tell you a lot of stuff about it, except for the fact once they have their motive, within a very short window of knowing why they're going to do this, and then becoming an expert at doing it. It's like, how did they plan all this?
No spoilers. The catalyst that makes the killer kill happened within a week. So within a week, they have come up with a plan.
Decided to be a killer. To
become a killer. And they've set up all this stuff, which is, as you watch the movie, they managed to get this person's phone number and that's what another reason why it's like Scream. They get text messages in the beginning.
Yeah.
So they did this within a matter of days. And these are people, obviously they didn't have time to work out and get in shape. And, we've got Olympic fucking swimmers up in here.
They were planning on killing, just looking for a reason. They finally got a weak reason. They decided, okay, it's time to be killers.
And it seems very unbelievable that they were able to figure this all out in a couple of days, particularly when you see who they are. For me, that's this movie was wavering for me a lot, but I was like, damn, that just was the nail in the coffin. Like, horrible writing. Kevin Williamson, you know better. I mean, Caitlin Crabb, I don't want to blame you, but I also didn't feel Kevin Williamson's presence here. Like sometimes when you have that poltergeist moment, you sniff your sweater, and you're like, Kevin Williamson. I didn't sense any Kevin Williamson in this.
Only when they fight the killer, because that reminds me a lot of when they fight Ghostface. That's the only time I ever saw it.
It almost makes me feel like they credited him just because it's kind of a Scream knockoff.
I don't know.
It's terrible. It's truly terrible. And he's been kind of in retirement for a while. Such a sad, sad return. I really hate to dog on movies, but this is terrible. My wife wouldn't let me name our daughter Willow, so her name is Lily. Those are both beautiful names.
We always said if we had a daughter, we would have named her Buffy. Granted, she wouldn't let me actually name her Buffy. She was gonna make it. That would be her short nickname for what her real name would be.
Yeah,
Elizabeth
I
or whatever.
Gonna say her middle name could be Elizabeth, and you could call her Buffy.
Yeah, always one of the little Buffy names.
I don't think being named Buffy is gonna help you get a lot of jobs or become president.
Well, like I said, as long as it's her nickname, I don't care.
It's all good. We didn't breed.
Yeah.
You helped me erase the thing I already had. The demon.
Balls. He's a teenager now. He'll be more lovable once
he's
he gets
an
past
adult
that
now.
phase. Yeah. Nah, he's a good kid.
He is good. You did a good job.
But yeah, that was the saddest
Want to
part.
hear my puberty story? It's a trap. No, I kid, Ariel. I kid.
But yeah, if you really like Scream and you don't mind, if you're actually clamoring for one of those 90s knockoffs, because there was a lot of them in the 90s, this is probably for you.
I disagree. Because I love a lot of those. I love Urban Legends. I love I Know What You Did Last Summer. And I still know what you did last summer. I loved all of those. I ate that up like it was chocolate cake. This bullshit is like Urban Legend Final Cut, where it tricked me thinking it's going to be like other things I like. Well, I'll like that. I'll get that. And it ends up being flat garbage. This sucked. Sucked.
Remember Urban Legend Bloody Mary?
Oh, okay. I will say, okay, I'm gonna rate this on an Urban Legend scale. There's Urban Legend, which I love. Mwah. There's Urban Legend Bloody Mary, which is unwatchable. It's unwatchable garbage. And then there's Urban Legend Final Cut, which is just like, did aliens make this? I mean, it's watchable, but it's really bad. This is exactly an Urban Legends Final
Alright.
Cut kind of movie. Slightly made better.
It's kind of one of those 90s knockoffs, but take out the fun of the 90s and get stuck in 2020, everyone's favorite year.
Yeah, why? I feel like it's also way outdated. Because who wants to be in 2020 right now? When we were in 2020 and we wanted to commiserate with a movie, movies like Host were a little bit comforting. Because it was a movie that was acknowledging what we were going through. It was kind of hard during 2020 to watch people like in big groups and stuff doing things we couldn't do. And so it was nice to see a movie that was honest. Now that we're on the other side of it and we're able to be in groups again and we're not as afraid, we have vaccinations and stuff now. It's really hard to spend time in 2020. You need to give me a damn good reason. And this movie didn't.
Huggy Bear says, well, hold on. Huggy Bear says kind of Sharknado. Horror is so bad that it might be good. No,
it's not.
Because it's not. Sharknado's a fun time.
It's not fun.
Especially the first 3. 2 and 3 are really fun Sharknado
This movie
movies.
is devoid of fun. You know that feeling when we were in 2020 and you knew you were going to have a big 20-minute poop. You knew it. You know you have no toilet paper at home. You only have a magazine and it's your favorite magazine so you don't want to use it. So you go to Walmart and there's no toilet paper anywhere but a tiny box of tissues and someone just grabbed it. That feeling is this movie. That feeling is this movie. It's constipation and despair.
Yeah, it's that part of 2020 where you get off the toilet, you go into the shower, and you shamefully waffle stomp that stuff down the drain.
You're good. I love you.
No, there's nothing really fun. The only time I was actually kind of into it was the attack scenes that had the action and the violence. Because I'm like, hurry up and kill these uninteresting characters so we can call it a day. Take it home, movie.
And it's also just a lot of the people that made 2020 really hard. The people who are like, oh, I have to wear my mask. The people who are like, oh, I have to. Like when you would watch the news and you'd see these massive parties in Florida, you're just like, wow, you guys are a bunch of douchebags. Do you guys really want to spend time, an hour and 20 minutes or so, with people like that? Because that's this movie.
Yeah, between this...
Mary's okay.
Between this and Dashcam, I've realized douchey characters plus 2020 aren't fun to watch.
Please, if you're going to force me in 2020, at least make him likable characters like in Host.
I'd rather watch Corona Zombies over again.
Ugh.
And that's not a great movie.
Check out what our girl Sandy said. By the way, Sandy, thank you. She is in the B Movie Coven over on my channel. She says, I definitely trust you guys' opinions, but I still have to check this one out. What do you rate this movie 1 to 10? That's too many numbers for me, but I did give it 2 stars, so I guess I would make it 4. I'm just going to do math that way.
Yeah, out of the letterbox, I gave it 2.5. I'm a little nicer than Gory when it comes to that violence.
Apparently, you are super nice than me. I think I'm nice.
Someone who's directed something, I really appreciate those long cuts. I have to chop shit up sometimes, and I hate doing that. I really hate having to make those shortcuts. So that's probably why I gave it a little more. But honestly, like I said, the most sad thing about this is the writing was supposed to be good, and I really didn't like any of these characters' interactions with each other. That's the only time I was rooting, like, hurry up and kill them, because I don't want to have them interact anymore.
To justify my 2-star rating, it's competently made. But for me, that is less important than story and fun. You guys know me. I love movies like The Suckling, which maybe it could be more competently made or uninvited, but I have such a great time. And that is value to me. Like Ben Grimm's in the chat. We watched TerrorVision yesterday. And, is it Shawshank Redemption level? No. Actually, that movie got panned when it was released, but it's so much fun. And to me, that's value. If having a good time is going to make me rewatch something again and again and again, even if it is lacking maybe in cinematography. There are movies that are gorgeously made, like Men, but they're impossible to watch because the story is so bad. And this movie, it's not gorgeously made. It's competently made. There's nothing dazzling about how it's made. It's almost like a really nice commercial, like one of those car ones where they have gorgeous sunsets, but you still don't want to watch it. The story is just bland, and it doesn't make sense, and the characters are terrible. So solid 2-star. I'm not going to say it's a bad movie, but it is horribly mediocre.
Yeah, and I get it if you want to check it out yourself. We had to check it out. I mean, we couldn't turn down a Kevin Williamson movie.
Oh yeah, I would. No matter who told me, no matter how trusted they were. This is a Kevin Williamson movie. I think you do need to see it for yourself. And also, Sandy, keep in mind, we are in the minority here. I was so surprised when I went on to Letterboxd and
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
You're gonna get that clip, huh?
I'm gonna get
milk it.
Yeah, everybody loves it. People were giving it mostly 3 to 3.5 stars on Letterboxd. Some people gave it 4. A lot of people love it. And if you do, hey, you love a horror movie, and that is the coolest fucking thing in the world. I hope your favorite movie every year is a horror movie, even if it's one I don't like. So absolutely check it out and make your own opinion. I'm just trying to set you up for maybe going with a little bit lower expectations.
I feel like maybe some slightly darker lighting every once in a while would have made this a little scary. A better, more iconic looking killer. Because like I said, these are my problems I had with ATM. I felt like, in a sense, halfway through this, I'm like, okay, this could maybe really happen. And that's why it's kind of scary. But once you like learn more about the killer, and you're like, no, that could never happen. Their motives are stupid and their planning is extra stupid. Like, how would that even make sense?
Honestly, you know what I would have liked?
The more you think about it.
If the catalyst was set in 2020, but the action happened now.
Yeah.
So there'd been like 3 years, to plan this, to be angrier, then you'd be like, they've had 3 years and they've been stewing on this anger. Like setting it now, but the catalyst for why they became killers happened in 2020.
And I'm not going to say why, but if you just tweaked why, like, because it's really weak, but I mean, just a small tweak, and I would be like, okay, I would be a little more understanding, but
I also will say, even though we know their motive, I think you want to know about your killers. I don't know who these people are. I don't know what they do for a living. I don't know where they live. For all I know, they were already like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre kind of family, and they already killed people all the time. That would make a lot more sense. Yeah. If you told me they were already crazy and someone poked the bear, okay, that makes a little bit more sense. But we know nothing about them. Nothing. Were they a middle-class, normal, suburban family? Were they serial killers? Were they people who've struggled their whole lives, paycheck to paycheck? I don't know. You'll not know either because it's not in the movie.
No. It just gets really political about how the, procedures of COVID went down, but I'm not even sure what the movie's stance is. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Like, I know, I guess, what the killer's stance is, but the movie itself is confusing on, does it agree with the killer or does it agree with the victim? I'm not sure. Like, the message is lost there.
Who are we supposed to sympathize with? Like, what? I don't know.
And for a good chunk, other than, like, the bookends of this movie, you forget that there's even that, like, COVID message at all. Like, it just, like, forgets about it, like, for a while. Like, where I don't even feel like, why is this in 2020 again? Oh, and then the very end, you're, like, reminded. But other than the beginning and the very end, there was, like, what? Oh, yeah, this could have been almost any time of the year.
It also kind of loses its meaning because we're so far past this point. I mean, obviously, COVID is still around. We do recognize it's out there, but we're not as scared as we were in 2020. We're not worried that we're going to run out of toilet paper. We're not scared about just go to the grocery store. Like, one thing they do in this, everyone does in this, is they disinfect all of the things from the groceries. We're past that point. A lot of, maybe you still do it, but I don't do that anymore. So it feels like we're so far past this that it's just not relevant anymore. Yeah. And even if it was relevant for the time, it's not a time period I want to remember right now. Movies are about escapism, and there are movies that are meant to challenge you, but this movie's not intelligent enough to challenge me effectively.
Christian horror. I pretend ATM is a Drake and Josh fan fiction to make it more watchable. That's a good way of going about it.
I love Christian horror.
But
by the way, Christian horror, I never see you over on my Gory movie channel. Link in the description. Come visit me sometime, buddy.
She's got lots of great live streams over there, and I'm usually checking it out with her.
Yeah, he's on there a lot.
And Brandon
Bloodsport 1.
Hi, Bloodsport.
Ha!
And Brandon of Bedlam says, just because a slasher doesn't excuse it having weak writing, slashers aren't my favorite, but they're still stories. Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like the story is really derivative and lacking anything to stand on. It's got some good action. The killer, if he maybe looked more iconic, would stand out better, but it's just your generic looking killer. The kills are okay. I mean,
The
there's,
thing
there's some
is-
things are nice about it, but not much.
We're all afraid of different things. I've read that the reason slashers are so popular in America is because overwhelmingly Americans are not afraid of ghosts and stuff. We're afraid of our next door neighbors. Well, for me, that paranormal stuff gets under my skin. And we're going to have a talk about a paranormal movie in a little bit.
Yeah.
But slashers don't scare me. As a kid, I didn't have a lot of friends, and I stayed in and watched those Friday the 13th movies, and I had a great time. That was my escapism. So what I ask for is I don't expect to be scared, but I do expect to have a good time. I do expect a good story.
Yeah. And if you're gonna reveal to me your motive for your slasher, because like Michael Myers, usually best known as just not having anything, just evil, slashing up babysitters, and that's fine. And if you're gonna give me a reveal of why they're doing what they're doing, make it at least relatable and believable.
Man, my boobs
Like
itchy.
when it comes down to where it's like, oh, they're just the master because. No, like that just makes it even less scary because I mean I know that not everybody out there like an ATM is the jigsaw of ATMs and can predict everything that will happen.
You see.
My wife apparently has itchy bra.
Ah.
But yeah, where like they can just account for everything. They know like the layout, even though they've never been there. They know everything. They're perfect. They're great. They're Olympic swimmers, all that kind of stuff. That makes it less scary for me. I don't know. If you're gonna tell me more about your killers, make it good. And this movie didn't. It made it worse.
Movie Massacre wants to know how the effects are. What do you think, babe?
Most of it's pretty good.
Can I just call you babe?
Most of it's pretty
This
good.
movie's so generic, it's making me be generic towards you.
There is a little bit of like CGI, a little bit, like to some of the kills, and you notice it a little bit. It's not bad. I think overall the effects are pretty good. I wish the lighting was a little scarier. I wish the atmosphere was a little scarier, and I wish the characters were more interesting. That's all I really wish.
I think for the most part, the effects, I'm assuming you're talking about the kills, are good. There is one kill, it's one of the bigger kills in the movie. It looked a little CGI-ish.
Yeah.
Not bad enough to where I was even certain that it was fully CGI, but it didn't look that convincing. There's a pretty graphic kill. You're gonna know it when you see it because it's one of the major characters. Again, not telling you who, just there's not that many characters in the movie. So that one I was like a little
And there's
but for the most part, it's not anything that creative or anything anyway. I saw the movie just yesterday or the day before, and I don't remember half the kills.
one with fire. That's probably the best one because
That was-
stunt was great. The stunt man, applaud.
I'm going to give props to the stuntman here because fire stunts are the most dangerous. It's how
Mhm.
Kane Hodder got permanently scarred.
Yep.
And the longer they're on fire, the scarier it is. There is a pretty impressive fire stunt in here. So props to the stuntman or woman. They did a great job.
Yeah, I would say that's its strongest thing is the action, the stunts, then the violence. And the creativeness of the kills, they're not like mind-blowing, but they're okay. Once you get into the story and the writing and the dialogue and just the characters, that's where this movie sinks itself. So I'm gonna have to say, skip it. I don't like I said, if it's a Kevin Williamson, if you feel like you need to see it, and there's a lot of people telling you that it's great, I'm not gonna be surprised. We had to see it. Like if someone told us to skip it, we'd probably still see it. But that is my rating. It's a skip it.
I'm gonna say skip it too. I know because it's Kevin Williamson, a lot of you are gonna want to see it, and I think you absolutely should if it interests you. But I would go in with extremely low expectations. Hopefully, you are pleasantly surprised. I was not. I was actually looking forward to this one because I love Kevin Williamson. I was a teenager in the 90s. Those movies were directly marketed towards me, and I ate them up like they were cotton candy. But this movie was a huge miss. It's not one I ever want to see again. Even if it was on, I'd be like, sucks, change it. So skip it.
Change it, butthead. Yeah, it's a skip it.
Here. Got your little thumbs down. How's that?
There we go. Pretty much a rating for it. I would like a little more time. It's like it kind of was a shame to see some of those awesome action, violent scenes in such a mediocre movie. Like that was like, such a great shot for this 5 minutes, but overall, it's like this 5 minutes is like a needle in a haystack.
The thing is,
mediocreness.
it's like maybe the cinematography is gonna, tickle your pickle, or maybe the gore is, but why watch a derivative mediocre movie when you can see great kills in another movie? Like I saw Pussy Cake the other day
Oh,
from
that was
Argentina. Great effects, great kills. There are movies with great writing. One that has incredible cinematography and is also really fun is The Final Girl. So when there are so many movies that get what this movie gets right and then gets everything else right too, why waste your time?
Exactly.
So unless you're a hardcore horror fan who has to see what Kevin Williamson has come out with,
Fair enough.
skip it.
Yep. All right, well, we'll be back.
Hold on, you got a couple comments you should check out. I've never seen Vicente Guerrero. Sorry for my...
hey, how you doing, Vicente?
Vicente. Vicente, like I'm the director of Jason.
Yeah, Never Hike in the Woods.
Never Hike Alone.
Never Hike Alone.
Yeah, we have a friend named Vicente.
Yeah, Vicente.
Guerrero. That's a cool name. That sounds like the name of somebody who would like do like a John Wick thing. Like have a cool car and a cool dog and do a whole bunch of violence.
Would I ever review the vomit gore films? Yeah, I probably would. I wouldn't put it past me.
I want to see Skinamarink. It didn't come out in our town, so we're waiting for the streaming. By the way, I noticed today Megan is out on streaming, so if you guys haven't seen that, no excuse. It's on VOD.
I hear that a lot of Skinamarink have had a lot of full houses for like half the audience to walk out.
I want to see it.
I don't know if that means
that's the
it's
thing.
really offensive and gory or if it's just people hate it.
In my adult life, or since I was a teenager anyway, I can count the number of movies that have scared me on one hand. And they are movies that a lot of you guys weren't scared by. I'm scared by different things than you, but I was scared of The Ring and I was scared of Paranormal Activity. Paranormal stuff like that gets under my skin, you know? And so it's different for all of us, but I'm really hoping Skinamarink does that for me.
So, yeah, I can't say if this is better than Skinamarink. I haven't watched it yet, but I am wanting to see it. I hope we'll see it soon.
Brandon, I loved Pussy Cake.
Oh, yeah, Pussy Cake.
Such a pleasant surprise. A little bit Evil Dead, so original. Stay tuned for a video on my channel. Like I said, I'm working on getting those videos back out to you. I've got notes. Yeah, I really cannot wait to talk to you guys about Pussy Cake.
It's probably so far my vote for best foreign language film of next year's Oscars.
Argentina really came out swinging last year, and I love it.
Yeah, so Pussy Cake, check that out, and yeah, also vote for the Oscars.
Not to change the subject, but Danny Knightmare, what's your next hair color gonna be?
Actually, I'm gonna be going with like a bright orange sometime next summer. Like I want it probably late in the summer. I'm gonna have orange. That way, when I go to Halloween Horror Nights again, I will have like an orange and black kind of hair.
Guys, like. What I love about 2023 is the first year I've been excited. That's another reason I didn't want to see a movie set in 2020. 2021 was still, we were dealing with a lot of the same stuff. 2022, it was kind of getting back to normal. 2023 is the first year I'm really excited. Yeah. I'm excited for Crypticon in May. It's also when my birthday is. I am so excited for Evil Dead Rise. For every time our anniversary falls on Friday the 13th, we try to do something special. And it will be this year. So we're going to go to Halloween Horror Nights and see our very good friend Ronnie Angel. We're also, our son graduates from high school this year. And we're going to take him to Nintendo Land in the fall. It's going to be an incredible year. I am so excited. And I'm so excited to like share all this with all of you guys. Yeah. And The Orchard Man will come out. Yeah. Danny's movie.
My movie. It's being worked on as we speak. And me and Rich started off this year by going to AEW, me and the Movie Massacre. So
and I'm excited for Ariel's birthday because I love Ariel. Ariel's been with me a long time. Ariel, you and I are ride or die, girl.
Yeah, she's been watching both Horror Addicts and Gory movie for a really long time. So we appreciate that. Yeah, if you love the paranormal activities, then you're probably going to love the movie we're about to talk about. We're going to take a good 5-minute break, and we will come back, though. We're going to reviewing how do you say that word?
Incantation. Hey, look, I can't highlight it because someone deleted it. Which, guys, you can say swear words in our streams. If you guys can handle horror movies, you can handle swearing. But Vicente said, "Nice of you both. You said my name right. Many people f up the first name. Yeah, Vicente Guerrero. Guerrero.
You didn't say we said his last name right.
I hope I said it right. It just sounds like a cool name. I like saying it.
Yeah, it's
cool. I'm really bad at rolling my R's, Vicente, so my apologies. I did take a lot of Spanish, like 5 years, but I've never mastered rolling my R's.
And yes, Brandon, rest in peace, Jay Briscoe. I hope his daughters, they sound like they're recovering. That is some real horrible sadness going on there. Mark Briscoe is wrestling tomorrow night, though, on Dynamite. So.
Hey, Slasher and Suits is here. I'm going to be on Slasher and Suits channel tomorrow. We're going to be working on the card for the next fight night, which is going to be tag teams on Sunday on my channel.
Yeah, we did have Hulk Hogan and Jimmy Hart on Raw. That was something. Mostly important though, the Sammy trial. Sammy's got a little more time going. Sammy honestly is the only reason why I'm really watching WWE right now. So I have
It's 7:45.
Yeah, we need to get going. We will be back in 5 more minutes. Just take a quick pee break or grab yourself something to eat or drink. We'll be right back to do incantation.
Incantation. Ah!